Prior to being Microsoft Education Showcase School site, we're happy to have Brynnau Primary School here with us, and in particular, Vanessa McCarthy, head teacher, and Sue Jones, digital teaching and learning lead for the schools. Just a quick introduction before we get started. My name is Dean Garza with Aspire to Be. We are based out of Swansea in South Wales. I've been in education for quite a while, a little over 20 years, and along that way I've got to work with wonderful teachers in schools using technology, and today is no exception. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions about using Microsoft in the classroom, or if you have any questions about anything that's presented today in the webinar. As you can see, my contact details are there, so please feel free to go back to them at any point during the recording or email me. So let's talk about Microsoft Showcase Schools. As of April this year, we've grown the community of Microsoft Showcase Schools to 504. And as you can see, in the UK alone, we have close to 60 Showcase Schools, which is by far a large percentage in terms of population. And we're looking to grow those numbers. So how exactly do schools get involved, first of all, with the Microsoft Showcase School program? Well, the path and the journey starts with showing interest and joining as a Showcase School incubator. So the incubator program is an application process. And if you want more information about how to apply, please feel free to get in contact with us at Aspire to Be using my contact details. But just in brief, for existing schools, once you've gone through the application process and there has been approval by either global training partners such as Aspire to Be or in support with Microsoft, we'll give you a Showcase School plan using the ETF and also transformation guides, which we'll talk about today. And then we'll go through even as well the criteria to meet to finally apply for final Showcase School status. And then last but not least is the acceptance and your official badge to let everyone know that you are an official Microsoft Showcase School. What is the criteria for showing that your school is dedicated to advancing outcomes through program enhancements? Well, number one is a commitment to transform. And part of the focus for today is to talk about school leadership vision and commitment to embark on a multi-year journey guided by the ETF, the Education Transformation Framework. Also, showing a culture of learning and growth. So 60% of educators and leaders have a Microsoft Educator Center profile. At least 25% of educators are Microsoft Innovative Educators and certified Microsoft Certified Educators. And 3% of educators are MIE experts. Number three, personalized learning and inclusion. That means meeting the needs of every student, focusing on everyone's potential. And fourth, future-ready skills, actively working on developing students' future-ready skills. Number five, data drives decisions. So insights provide guidance for education improvements and visibility into progress, which is a mainstay of Microsoft. And number six, solutions impact, which is very important, especially showing 60% of student, staff, and teachers are using Teams. 90% of students and teachers are using Office 365 exclusively, and 60% of all devices in the school are Windows 10. So what is the Education Transformation Framework? Well, it's a guide that helps schools and leaders to navigate the complexity of transformation, especially as we go into an uncertain future. So it helps facilitate what your school's vision and what that process looks like, and envisioning what's possible and developing a strategy to help achieve that in respect to a roadmap. So you can see here that the four domains: leadership and policy, teaching and learning, intelligent environments, and student and school success, which have subdomains as well. Brynnau is going to talk to us today about their journey as a Showcase School and the ETF, and focusing on teaching and learning. So I am going to turn it over to them here to talk about the wonderful things they're doing. Hello, ladies. How are you?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Vanessa. Good morning, Sue. As you can see that it seems like a long process to get to showcase school status and to deal with ETF, but I know you guys are going to present some wonderful things today and talk about how schools can get started. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just share my slides with you. Okay, welcome to the Brynnau journey. My name is Sue Jones. I'm the Digital Teaching and Learning Lead at Brynnau, and with me today is
Vanessa McCarthy. I'm head teacher at Brynnau Primary School. Bore da, good morning. Okay, we're going to talk about the Brynnau journey in relation to our Microsoft Showcase School status. I'm head here. We're a semi-rural school in southeast Wales. We're about 30 minutes away from Cardiff, about 5 minutes away from the M4, and we're in the county of Rhondda and Taff. It's a traditional village school built in 1904. Lots of my families are still families that were on the original register, and although it's a traditional building, we do have two very modern extensions. We've 8 teachers, full-time equivalent teachers, 20, actually 23 now, LSAs, support staff for a variety of reasons, some funded by myself, some funded by the local authority. 256 children on roll, all of whom live within the catchment area. So the bit that you're interested in, of course, are the significant milestones in our journey along the way. In 2015, we became a Microsoft Imagine Academy, and that was as a consequence of training that Sue was undertaking, which was funded by our LEA, Rhondda and Taff, but which took place within our school, and that really, was the start of our investment in the training for all teaching support staff. So then May 2019, we gained an Excellence Award for our training provision within the Prodigy Learning Awards in London. May 2019, we were included in the EdTech 50 school list for our innovative use and sharing of ICT to enhance learning. And then in 2019, we very proudly achieved our Microsoft Showcase School status, and we're extremely proud to have continued that journey now in 2020. Sue.
Okay, so hi, as I said, I'm Sue Jones. I'm the Year 1 teacher in the foundation phase, which I believe in England is called the Early Years Foundation phase. I'm also the digital lead teacher. I first became an MCE, a Microsoft Certified Educator, and an MIE, a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert in 2015, whilst undertaking training and running courses for our local authority. During 2018 to 19, I was seconded 1 day a week to run the Microsoft Certified Educator and 21st Century Learning course for schools within RCT. As part of the course, we offered the opportunity to take the MOS, the Microsoft Office Specialist exams. I'm pleased to announce that we had 100% pass for those that took place. In early 2020, I led an innovative digital project for schools within the local consortium, which we finished just before the end of March, the end of lockdown. And during lockdown, I became the remote teacher lead, supporting colleagues, parents and pupils on the Teams platform. And next year, in 2021, our school will lead a series of remote workshops for our LEA on using digital tools effectively for the new curriculum in Wales.
Okay, so why the Education Transformation Framework for us? Well, yeah, it is a guide. It does what it says on the tin on that slide. But, the digital world moves so quickly. It's not easy as a head to navigate a strategic journey through it. And it's very easy to be waylaid by the exciting new apps or the latest fad. And I guess for us, there were important considerations. The first and foremost Why are we using it? You know, the application of technology obviously is to enhance the learning, but then how can we achieve that? Gives credence to the need for quality training, not just for the learners but also for the staff, and they need access to be able to apply those skills. But also, strategically, you need to ensure that you've got a financial commitment towards that, and that financial commitment has to be sustainable. It's not a one-off, you know, spend of a little pot of money. So for us, the Education Transformation Framework was very much our go-to help framework. It's a navigation tool for educators. It is a form of a series of pillars, and it does guide you through the process of digital transformation, and it's the scaffold upon which certainly our digital journey was initially developed and continues to be developed. Sue, next slide.
Thank you.
So once the Education Transformation Framework pillars are all interlocking, and they are of equal importance, we opted to prioritise elements of it and chose to focus initially on the teaching and learning pillar. So we started with a baseline audit of staff confidence in using technology to identify strengths and common areas for development. And then as a consequence of that, we developed a CPD programme to support it. But, you know, governing body members, admin staff, teachers, LSAs were all part of that audit. We pretty much see technology as the tool or a tool to enhance learning, but we accept our responsibility to make sure that in order for that to happen, as learning designers, aka teachers, we are skilled to select the most appropriate tool to meet the needs, aspirations and resilience of all our learners. And yes, our governing body do give an annual, and always have since I've been here in 2001, a financial commitment to maintaining our IT infrastructure and CPD for staff. Data, yes, it's used to inform decisions at a multi-platform of levels: behaviour, well-being, literacy, numeracy, attendance. You know, we're waiting the new curriculum guidance in terms of assessment for Wales, and you know, that is a major part of the next step in our journey. But in terms of leadership and policy, which is the slide that Dean shared with you, so pretty much where did we start? Yes, we started with an audit, but we revisited our whole school vision to reflect the 4 core purposes of the new curriculum for Wales within our unique setting in Brynnau. The process involved lots of discussions and surveys with stakeholders, learners, staff, families, the governing body, and it raised many interesting and valuable ideas and issues. And the vision for change is there in front of you. It's about the development of knowledge, skills and experiences within an authentic, relevant curriculum, learning environments which inspire aspiration and creativity, but are mindful of the rapidly developing digital world. So, you know, that's our vision. How would we achieve it? Then obviously our SDP and ICT development plans are vehicles for documenting and driving our digital transformation journey, but they contain short and long-term goals, obviously, and opportunities to monitor and review progress, to assess the impact of on our teaching and learning. So, you know, that's, you know, the journey, that's the strategic stuff. Sue is now going to outline our collaboration work within the LEA and across our consortium. Sue?
Okay.
Sorry.
I've gone.
Sorry, Sue. So I guess our strength at Brynnau is pupil-centred learning. It's at the heart of our teaching and learning journey. It's integrated into our planning process, along with the development of skills, knowledge and concepts that our pupils need to master. But how we teach, hence the digital, is equally as important as what we teach. We've invested in ensuring that our pupils are able to practice digital skills, not just in a computer suite, but also that they have access to digital technology across and within the classrooms or learning areas, because we believe that we want our learners to be collaborative, critical, and creative thinkers. Apologies, Sue.
No problem. Okay, so just sharing here our planning process. So learner voice is particularly strong in the we could. So we know, we wonder, we could. So the learner influence is particularly important there. And these are the activities that the learners identify they want to undertake in response to the we wonder. And it's the learners' opportunity to link to activities which develop their skills and enhance deeper learning experiences. Each week, the children's ideas and questions are used in our weekly plans. At the end of the week, learners are given opportunities to reflect on what they've learned, any challenges they've had, and the way forward for the next week is also discussed with our learners. This is an ongoing cycle which leads into planning and organising a celebration event at the end. I'll talk about this aspect when I share some of our collaborative learning projects later on. So the next slide here is about intelligent environments. So during the past 10 months, the development of our hybrid learning has been vastly accelerated, obviously in response to the worldwide pandemic. At the start of lockdown, we were fortunate that pupils had access to an online platform called Hub in Wales. All learners from 3 to 18 have an Office 365 account, which includes the Teams app. As a staff, we were already using Teams for staff meetings, collaborative projects within our school and with other schools and organisations. Some Key Stage 2 classes and my Year 1 class had set up Teams, which we mostly used within the school setting. So in March, we were in a great position in that we were able to quickly set up class teams and a staff resource teams in readiness for remote learning. We quickly created a bank of resources that we could share with our colleagues. We set up protocols for using class teams and for online streaming. It was very important to keep our staff and learners safe online. We are in the process at the moment of collecting the data of the number of pupils who continue to use online learning and the impact it has. In school, we use our school management system, as Vanessa said, to collect data and analyse data. This we see as an element that we need to develop as the new Welsh curriculum assessment model is confirmed. And here it's the element of student and school success. For us, training and upskilling staff is key to our EdTech journey. Staff CPT is an important part of our action plan. Staff have been trained and have gained Microsoft certifications. Staff and learners are trained in using the Office 365, also other things like developing coding skills, using equipment like Lego WeDo and Minecraft. Training is a combination of in-house and external providers, as well as obviously the Microsoft Educator Centre. Our digital leaders have taken training sessions for learners and even staff at times. Mm-hmm. We have a dedicated Cwtch teams, which continues. Cwtch in Wales is like a cuddle, a hug, so it's somewhere they feel safe. We've actually got a physical room in school, so we set up a virtual Teams to replicate the room. And this supported learners, and it continues to support learners 24/7. There's access to videos and activities. We are mindful of offering inclusive, equal and accessible learning. For instance, we use the immersive reader to help develop literacy. Mobile devices are used for learners. For instance, we've got one pupil that's in a wheelchair and he often tires, so he's given access to a tab to record his learning. So technology is making learning more accessible for these learners. Okay, so in summary, as you can see here, Brynnau led the training for LEA and the 21st Century Learning Design, as we already said. Each staff who took part, had an MC at the end, so they became our staff, Microsoft certified educators. And in 2019-20, we developed a whole school adoption of the 21st Century Learning Design within our plans. And the focus of all our projects is student-centered learning and collaborative projects. And also, as part of the developing staff CPT, all staff from admin, dinner ladies are all given the opportunities to take MOS exams if they so wish. And here, I've just got a slide of the 21st Century Learning Design skills from the 21st Century Learning course that I run. And here you can see the rubrics that we incorporate into our learning design. So you've got collaboration, knowledge construction, use of ICT for learning, skill communication, real world problem solving, innovation and self-regulation. So each rubric has a set of skills to measure how effectively the skill has been integrated and taught in a lesson. And here I've just taken some strands from the teaching and learning framework of the ETF, the Education Transformation Framework. And here you can see computational thinking, creativity and innovation, collaboration, communication. And in Wales, we have something called the DCF, the Digital Competency Framework. And these skills are very much part of this as well. So you can see it all ties together. I'm just going to hand over to Vanessa for the next slide.
So, which is all well and good, and is all the technical stuff, but what is what's the learner of a journey in Brynnau Primary School based on what you've seen? So intrinsically, it's responding to a stimuli, which is invariably a digital stimuli. My staff are very good at creating all sorts of weird and wonderful events and occurrences. And so children are given the opportunity to respond to a stimuli and then to look at what do they know about it, what would they like to know about it, you know, so they're in a process of building their knowledge of the stimuli, then developing the skills that they will need to explore their knowledge, develop their skills and share their skills. And in order to make meaning and then to make sense of their knowledge and apply it in authentic context to enrich their learning. So what are we looking for? That's the learner journey, using the technological skills, but how will we know that we've been successful, that a learner has achieved, is making progress? So progress then for the learner is measured and competency then in regards to the developing ability to display and deploy future ready skills, which we see as being resilience from perseverance through to absorption and engagement, and, you know, collaboration, self-awareness, the effort that they put in. These are wider skills. Yes, literacy and numeracy and, you know, digital competency comes within that, but these are overarching skills, critical and creative problem solving, thinking skills, upon which we measure progression. And Sue's going to share some of the projects that we've been involved in. This is, you know, the exciting bit, I guess, for us in primary sector.
Okay, so this is a project that was a whole school project, and it's an example of a whole school authentic context for learning. At the start of the project, a letter was sent to the school from a real life fictitious company asking the children to design, make and test devices that could make modern life easier. Pupils chose their teams and allocated roles within their teams, for example, marketing, product, design, advertising, finance, etc. They researched products, they designed and made contraptions to fit the project brief. Digital technology was used for research and to film the process of their journey and to make advertising campaigns. And at the end, parents were invited so that a real audience was present. And here, this is just an example of one of the contraptions, which ironically was for hand washing, and this was a whole year before the worldwide pandemic.
Not our fault, folks.
No. And the foundation phase, we took a more appropriate slant on the project. So we called it Let's Go Wild. And the context began again with a wow starter. This time, Coco the monkey was found lost in the woods with a rucksack of clues. The children were set tasks to complete, culminating in the project to design a challenge, to design a product to help to feed the animals. Again, parents were invited to the celebration event where the children showcased their inventions. And as you can see in the slide, you can see the real world problem solving, collaboration, ICT for learning skills that were enhanced throughout this project. And I've just got some screenshots of some of the work that the children did. This is Dorka, who's in reception. She wrote and recorded and animated an ebook about a zebra. This was my class. We used a Scratch program on our tablets and developed the computational thinking of year 1. And the year 2, they used stop-start animation to write scripts and perform and film a little play, which was very entertaining. Oops, sorry, I've just gone one too far. So one of the first collaborative projects the school led for the local cluster of schools was a project using Minecraft, and it was called Dragoncraft. A letter with a QR code was sent to the schools, which you can see in the bottom picture there, which revealed a website. The children in each school were then set the task of making a virtual home for Chi, the Chinese dragon. Each school collaborated via a virtual learning environment to share work and communicate. The children were involved in making ebooks, learning how to use Minecraft, and wrote stories to make a collaborative film of Chi's adventure using green screening. This culminated in a real-life celebration event for all the schools. And this is just a screenshot of the castle that the schools made working collaboratively. Also within our school, we think it's very important to engage our learners with learning via external agencies. For instance, in Wales, we have techno camps, and they come in and they work with pupils developing coding skills. Here you can see year 1 and year 5 using Scratch. You've got the Scratch Junior and then you've got Scratch on the PCs. They come in and lead the workshop, and the teachers are present so that they can use the skills and develop these with their children. Also, we're very, very lucky that Sony is 5 minutes down the road from us, and they offer workshops as well, which our year 5 and 6 went to this year. They give a tour of the factory as well. So here they were learning how to use Raspberry Pi, Scratch and Python. And we think it's critical that our pupils have high aspirations and awareness of employment opportunities within the digital world. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we have pupil digital leaders who like to lead clubs. We expect our year 5 and 6 pupils to support digital learning within our school. They enjoy exploring how our new equipment works and helping others, including teachers, to use it in their learning journey by running digital clubs and sessions. And you can see our Lego Weeder there, which I really, really, really enjoyed and have enjoyed using with younger children. And Minecraft, which is a firm favourite of Key Stage 2. Also, Our pupils like to take part in the Microsoft Global Connect, which was using Skype in the classroom, which is now using Teams to connect with learners and experts around the world. And now I'm going to just head back over to Vanessa to talk about lockdown.
So yeah, remote learning in lockdown really further sharpened our focus, and from the outset really there was a need for clear agreed protocols for distance learning, you know, not only from safeguarding issues, but you know, you've got siblings in different classes. Parents are very good at picking up on, you know, whether or not one class is doing more or in exciting opportunities than the other siblings. Sometimes parents are very naughty at sending derogatory emails. It proved an opportunity for me to go in and monitor, and you know, I've responded. You know, in the first instance, we've opened up chat to all the Teams pages, and you know, I was reticent about that, but I think it's been a good thing because it's the whole sense of belonging, and it's out there in the open, so nothing unpleasant can be said, and you know, there's clear monitoring and transparency. Myself and the SLT are members of each Teams page. And so that's not just Big Brother adherence to school policy, it's so that children and families get to know that I'm still here, you know, and that we are a team, on a class team. We hold virtual staff meetings, and you know, I'm increasingly becoming more relaxed about the venue and more confident in the possibilities that Teams offers for online staff meetings. Last week, we've got to the end of term with only one incident of coronavirus, which is amazing. It's been really good teamwork to get there. So two of our classes were in self-isolation, but we were prepared for this because what each class teacher was required to do was to set up a separate bank of activities, which was for the purpose of the children who were in self-isolation, so they were ready, good to go. And that was very quickly shared with, and obviously the same thing, monitored by the class teacher. And last week, the assignments were undertaken by the vast majority of the children. So, you know, clearly that's been successful. The big thing for us, I think, really is I do care about standards, but what's very important is the well-being of all staff and significantly the children. Primary phase is about you know, development of relationships and personal development. So we have, as Sue said earlier, a coach. And it is a virtual sort of page. There you can see Karen, who's my hippie chick ALNco, and she's fully supported by 3 other members of staff, and one of whom is our wellbeing coach. So Karen is a fully qualified ELSA practitioner, so she posted videos for parents, for support for parents, and my wellbeing coordinator posted activities and mindfulness practices for learners and their families to engage with. That's a feature of our school. And additional reading support continued and was monitored and managed by the ALN team. We tend to use Nessie and Catch Up quite heavily, but so it was still there. It was life as usual. It was keep calm and carry on in the Brynnau fashion. Sue.
Okay, so as we said, we are hybrid ready for when a class or bubble has to isolate. And it was actually my class last week that we had to self-isolate, and it was fantastic that we were ready to go. We were prepared. The resources were made, and it was really great because we had, on the post section, we had really good communication, people sharing what they've been up to that week. And if parents want to speak privately to us, they could email us because all the details are on Teams. So that was excellent. And now our staff CPT and meetings, we use Teams online, and we find out our meetings are much more focused because we've got the time limit and we have to speak to each other, and it's good. And it's really good for sharing. Everyone knows what's going on now because we're sharing things in one place rather than the server, which we can never ever find again. Okay, so sorry, Vanessa, sorry, over to you.
We're not at the end of our journey. Technology is constantly changing, and as educators, you know, we have to learn quickly and adapt so that our pupils are equipped with the skills that they need to learn and thrive in our modern technological world. Sue?
Yeah. So we see that continued CPT for staff on the use of emerging technologies to enhance the authentic learning context. We want to sort of integrate things like Flipgrid, virtual reality. Vanessa's introducing them. I think there must be a secret pot of money somewhere there, Vanessa. And also, hand in hand with that, we want to increase the number of MIEs, the Microsoft Innovative Educator Experts within our school. Because we see we have got experts, we just want them to celebrate it. Vanessa?
Yeah, I think for me, the key thing is, and it comes back to the ETF, the transformation framework. I really have relied on that to develop a strategic approach to hybrid learning, and that will continue to be, you know, the way in which we further develop our approach to hybrid learning. It's a crutch if you want, and you know, those of us that need a model to build upon, it's there for you. Those of you that can fly will do so. But yeah. And
obviously we see sharing our journey with other schools is important because we want to share what we do, and we want other schools to pick up on enthusiasm, and so that the students, they're the ones that gain out of this. So we're going to, you know, next term we're going to, as we said, planning a virtual event. We'll collaborate with teachers and schools within our LEA, and hopefully we will get the children to deliver effective tools for the new curriculum. And yeah. Vanessa?
Yeah, I guess, you know, I could say data analysis of the impact of hybrid learning, but, you know, it's about continuing to have fun. It's, you know, the next project for next term is really exciting. Yeah, it's kind of a personal challenge within a, I guess, folk tale.
Oh, thank you for listening and watching. As you can see here are our details as our hub emails, and Vanessa's very fancy. She's got her own Twitter there.
I'm just verbose and talkative.
Oh, that's excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, and thank you, Sue. I have some questions for you because that was such an amazing presentation. I know people that are watching are probably going to be thinking some of the same things or questions that I'm going to ask you. Number one, what prompted you originally to shift to Microsoft or to use Microsoft in the first place?
I've got to give a huge amount of credit to my local authority. You know, they well, I'm not sure if it was certainly the first in Wales, Education Authority, to team up with Microsoft and to have as an ambition that all their schools, all their staff would have a Microsoft accredited, qualification. Not everybody bought into it. We were sort of halfway on the journey anyway, but they funded Sue to start this training, and it was like Pandora's box. And Sue, you've really grown, I think,
It has been amazing. Before, I think, the collaboration within RCT, everyone was in their schools working. We were all we weren't sharing. And now it's been a fantastic opportunity to work with our other educators and share good practice and work on projects together. So we learn from each other. That's very important.
Well, you talked about the data analysis, and as a former records and assessment person, I was like, oh, my eyes lit up. It's like, oh, sounds like right up my alley. And it's so easy to do, of course, with, I would say Excel, and also within Teams to share those insights along with the Power BI as well. If you guys, I'm not sure if you're using that, but I used to love using that to show off all the different charts and graphs we can make. But what about advice in terms of a school? Let's say they're going down that path. And what advice would you say, along with the ETF, of course, but in terms of making that shift from just using a platform to that mindset? Okay, you know what? I think we're going to start that journey towards a whole school vision. What's the first step to take there, Vanessa?
I come back to what I said in relation to subsidiarity. It's got to be about your individual context. Your learners will look very different from mine, and you need to have the courage to go with that. You need to know why you're teaching, what you're teaching, and agree that, and then agree the how, and the how bit is your transformation journey. I was a bit sort of flabbergasted, taken aback by colleagues that I've spoken to in a variety of settings who really didn't have a handle on, and it's not that I'm a control freak, Dean, but didn't have a handle on what was happening in terms of the lockdown journey and distance learning. And I think you really have to have an agreed protocol. Heads have to be firm with that from the beginning. I am not a technological person. I'm digi-gran. The kids call me that, and they laugh. But I don't need those skills. I need to be the strategic person. I spent the day with Sue, half a day with Sue yesterday, and I learned more about OneDrive than I previously knew. But that's not the point. You've got to have, an overarching vision, and that really is key. And you have to hold people to be accountable to that vision.
I think it's bringing on, making staff enthusiastic and wanting to take part. Yeah. Because if you haven't got that, it's it leads from the top, but you've got to have the enthusiasm from staff, and we're very lucky we do have it. But that's listening to them, listening to their needs, and trying to cater for their needs, and give the training if they need it, and give the support. Not all our training is formal. Some of it can be like a 5-minute show and tell, show me how to do this. And so and so
relevant and not onerous either. It's got to be something that is of direct use back in the classroom, or will make their lives easier. Time management is critical. We haven't got time, and time spent should be spent with the learner.
Well, I mean, you guys are definitely embodiment so far of what we talked about. We talked about the education transformation framework in terms of those domains, but really with that 21st century learning design, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because it's so key to having a game plan ready to go for anything really that comes along. But not only that, it's just good pedagogy in there as well, isn't it? So one of my big key, I say, phrases in my class was the use of metacognition, and I saw that you guys use that.
Thinking about thinking.
Yes, exactly, and also the systems around that, which it looks like that lesson that you had about coming up with an original invention, and also how to use that within different groups that collaborate. It's just amazing. So it was great to see. Well, guys, first of all, I got to say thank you for your time today, and secondly, thanks for sharing, because like you said, that's probably one of the biggest things that is an advantage of using Microsoft, is the ability to collaborate and share ideas very easily and access it, just like this video of us today. we're going to have tons of teachers being able to access this through Stream, through OneDrive, and then also online streaming services of other types. So I want to thank you for your time, and I also want to say I will be in touch. And as Microsoft Global Training Partners aspire to be, we're very glad to be partners with you guys. So thank you very much. Any last words before we go today?
Deal.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes,
my best Welsh is croeso. And
well done.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I know we'll see each other very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.